The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021 Waste Management Open Picks Preview. One and done. We have it all for you today. Remember to smash that like button in the description. Tell me your winner of this event. Go back to yesterday's Pat Mayo Experience for a first look and research into this event. And there was giveaways to be had. If you left a 5-star review along with your Twitter handle and email address on the Pat Mayo Experience on Apple Podcasts, you are eligible for the draw. We have a winner, Scott Kelvin, $12.25 money already in his pocket, $100 US. That is not the end of the giveaways right now. So there's a $100 giveaway for the same thing. 5-star review, Apple Podcasts on the Dog or Pass podcast. Go search that, subscribe to it, rate, review, 5 stars, email, Twitter handle, boom. You'll be on that draw. Paul and Cody are giving away the $100 on Wednesday's show now that the UFC is back from its 1-week bye week. Also, there's a brand new show on Mayo Media Network. It'll be the 5th podcast feed that we have out, so the network is growing. This one is called Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets. Very searchable, not going to lie to you, but is going to be a cluster of all niche, smaller slate sports, quick to the point. It's not going to be 3 hours of me and Jeff and Tim yelling at each other. If you want information on some of the stuff that you might not know about, whether it be European Tour Golf, esports, NASCAR, UFC, soccer, we have a line of contributors all lined up. That feed is now open. You can find the links in the description of this video and podcast. But right now, if you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review. Just say how excited you are, how great Mayo, just lie about it, whatever it is. And then leave your Twitter handle and or email address so I can contact you. If you're a winner, you will be in a draw for potentially one of some $100 giveaways. We'll give out one next week on the show and then maybe one on the week after that. So continue to subscribe to Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets. Leave those reviews and boom, you're in the draw. The Listeners League link for DraftKings already open in the description of this podcast. And that's all you got from me, Geoff Fienberg. Fun weekend.
What a weekend. What a weekend. I think hold me to it. Laying a marker. This will be a top 3 win of the entire year. Majors be damned. What just went down? Storylines included. Take them out. Incredible. Include them. Throws gasoline on top of an incredible weekend.
I didn't know so many people in the golf space traveled all the way up to Mount Pius, got the Marilyn Manson rib surgery so they could suck their own cocks and just get really upset over the weekend. People, calm down. This is, I don't want to say it's the best thing that could have happened out of this tournament, but it's the only thing out of this tournament that could have happened really to make you remember what happens. You're going to see probably First Take, PTI, whatever it is. They're talking about golf this weekend. It's a legitimate needle mover, whatever side you fall on. I watch this shit as entertainment. I think it's funny. I think the people who have the right to be upset about what happened with Patrick Reed and his cheating ways, also, if he's actually cheating, fucking catch him and penalize him. That's the end of the story. Put safeguards in place where if he's actually cheating and he gets caught cheating, whether it be on video, and that's a whole different thing because not everyone in the field has cameras on them the entire time, so it's hard to enforce that stuff by retroactive video. But if he's cheating and you're upset about it and the players are upset about it, find a way to penalize him and disqualify him to stop him from cheating. If not, he's going to keep doing it. And I'm going to find it funny. Now, it sucks because I had bets on other guys where if he was DQ'd, all of a sudden I have 2 guys in a playoff and I'm looking pretty good. So gamblers have to be upset about it. They have a real reason. DraftKings players, daily fantasy players, they have the right to be upset about it because that's actually affecting their bottom line when it comes down to it. Now, I'm both those things. I still find it funny. And the actual players in the field have a right to be mad about it. Voice your opinion. Don't be Xander Schauffele and give this interview where it's just this veiled critique of just fucking come out and say it if you're going to say it. Be he's a fucking cheater, penalize him. That's the end of the story. And if it wasn't I forget who was in his group. It was Will Gordon and someone else. If he wasn't playing with 2 rookies or 2 I think it was Zalatoris and Gordon.
Yeah, they both declined comment because I think people were looking for them.
I think so too. But if he's playing with Rory and Rahm or 2 higher end players, he's not getting away with this shit.
Well,
but he knows that too.
As we know, he never wants to draw Burger.
No, Burger's all over him.
Burger will come from the other side of the hole to come see it. I agree with a lot of you said. I don't really have sympathy for gamblers or DFS guys.
No, but I feel like they have a legitimate...
Like the guys in the field do, but I have a legitimate complaint when the ref misses a holding.
This is a little bit different. I think, at least. Just because it's such a pronounced situation.
This is
and
like
it's an
being
individual
upset
sport.
that you lost a baseball bet to a guy that used steroids. Like, these rules are so gray, and there's so much money involved, and the guys did steroids because of the money involved, and like you could play the right or left side of gray, and Reed walks up there. The second that lady gives him the answer he needed, he knows he has like 80 outs to play this. And is it a bad look? Yeah. Is it sketchy? 100%. But I'm in love with his brazenness.
I know. I can't believe it.
To pick up a ball without a rules official on the word of a lady marshal is incredible to me. Like, it's amazing.
What if it was a male marshal?
Sure,
Would it be a
I'm
different
just saying
story?
any marshal. But we see from the overhang, sometimes these guys are like in their own conversation, or these ladies are in their own conversation, or sometimes they're paying attention. Like, we see when that overhang shot comes in, like, I'm like, oh my God, Marshall, watch out. And like the ball's not even close to them, but we have weird angles. But I think it's amazing because all people talk about in this sport is Tiger's health and Bryson's body. But Fox, like, as I was on with Travis Fulton last night, he had a notification on his phone from like Fox News. Like, this is a story. This is real. This is sizzle. And yeah, people can say like, it's just, we do a show, so it's content. I don't know. We find content.
It is content. Trust me, for everyone.
But we find content in everything. Finau gagging another Sunday was content for us last Monday. Like, and now, we have this Reed incident. I don't know. It's easy. I kind of have come to the conclusion, Pat, there's nothing he can do on the course that could make me not like him. If it happened, like if he does some horrible act like off the course, I could not like him. Actually, I take that back. He could use language on the course that I would probably be hyper offended by.
Especially if he was playing with Burger.
Sure. But I don't know. In terms of the golf act, I don't know. And it's weird. He did it up 4 shots on a Saturday afternoon. It's the same thing I was running. It's like why people got so tilted when Belichick was caught filming the Bengals. Because this guy's a slayer. He doesn't even need to do it. He'll rip their heart out anyways. The fact that he does this, I don't know. I'm obsessed. And people's anger, I think, made me love him more. It made me plant my flag harder. I had money on Hovland, and I'm sitting there like thinking, no, I like money, but there is true SOI in this.
What's SOI?
I don't know. What's the thing?
Soy. Are you a soy boy?
I don't know.
Are you talking about SEO?
SEO. Sure. See, I'll say 100 great things today. That's what you're going to cut out.
I think you and Tim should have your own like digital consulting agency, and you guys can really go in on all the terms. Cracks me up. I don't begrudge anyone who's mad at Patrick Reed or hates Patrick Reed because of this. That's good. I feel like a lot of these people didn't watch wrestling when they were kids.
And maybe that's part of it.
Especially with like Royal Rumble going on. Like, there's nothing I enjoyed more as a 12-year-old than the biggest heel there was in wrestling. Like, my favorite wrestlers of all time were like, actually, the funny heels were more of my guys, but like Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Lie, Cheat, and Steal, Eddie Guerrero, let's go. Like, these are the people that I was rooting for, and maybe it's just me projecting that's the entertainment that I like to get out of sports out of this. And having, like, Bryson is a fake villain. People don't like Bryson's because they think he's, like, lame or tries too hard, but by all accounts, Bryson is a great guy. Like, a really good guy. He's a bit petulant from time to time and a bit phony, like you say, but
I don't think he's phony. I don't think he's self-aware.
Self-aware.
There's a big difference because I don't like phonies.
Fair enough. The biggest thing, though, is like he's polarizing. And Patrick Reed, I don't know if it's like 50-50 or what the split is on Bryson. Because there's no like legitimate reason not to like him. because by all accounts, like I said, he seems like a good guy. Patrick Reed just seems like a bad guy, and he wins. He's a winner who no one likes, and that couldn't be better. If he won more, it would actually be better for the PGA Tour, because then you could build heroes around him. Like, Tiger's having surgery.
It'd be hard to win more. He wins that much.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be hard.
I mean, Justin Thomas wins more. Like if
Justin
Thomas heel turn teams up with Patrick Reed, now we're good to go.
I hate to do this. No one gives a shit about Justin Thomas. What he did, losing his sponsors, those horrific words on the golf course, they didn't even show up in mainstream media. And that's an indictment on how little people give a shit about what we're doing here. And what happened this weekend exploded. And I am here 100%, I guess, for it.
Inject it into my veins. I love it. I was getting texts from people who don't give a shit about golf, being like, what is going on in golf right now? And if it's going to take... And it's sad that this is the state of affairs where golf is at, because they have all of this young talent. The game is probably in the best spot it's been in ages, but they can't find anything to escape the Tiger vacuum. It was a lot like, actually, Paul, you can chime in on this. After the Khabib and Conor fight, remember how horrified UFC fans were that all the shenanigans that went on after with people jumping out of the cage and all that stuff? And I looked at it, I was like, people are going to be talking about UFC for a week now. This is great. This couldn't have had a better ending. Conor loses and there's a complete shit show. What do you think that the net effect of was directly after that? The hardcores are going to hate it, just like they hate this Reed stuff, but it's the only way you can really latch into the mainstream outside of the very, very top-end players of the game, I think.
Yeah, the people loved it. Why do they love it? Because, it just adds more fuel to the fire. You're watching... For the fight game, it's a little bit different, I suppose. Most fight fans kind of loved it, to be perfectly honest. But they're kind of watching from a standpoint of... you're watching guys go in there and try to, beat each other's brains out anyway. So, what happened... what happens right after a big lead up to a fight and all of that. I don't know. Yeah, people always, people overreact about it all the time. All this stuff. It's the same thing with, I was telling Tim, most people aren't going to care about this Patrick Reed thing. Most people don't know about this Patrick Reed thing.
No, and
I know in the golf bubble it's a really big thing, but if you just look at the general internet, people aren't talking about, oh, did you see what Patrick Reed did during the third round? No, they probably know that he won this week.
Yeah, this story has gone up a bit more than anything that happened at the American. Anything that's happened in golf this year, this is by far the biggest thing that's happened.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's crossing a GameStop sort of notoriety here. But it is it is going to creep in, as you said, into all those shows today, and it wouldn't have if just Rahm beat Reed just Hovland in a tight, fun Sunday that we would be going nuts and being like, wouldn't it be great if they played in a Ryder Cup on Sunday? No one cares about that, Pat. The other part about it is I love football, I love baseball, I love all the other sports. I pay attention even if I'm not watching to the other leagues. And tell me if I'm wrong. Patrick Reed is arguably the most fascinating athlete in all of professional sport. When you bring in the college story, the fact with the parents, just his family dynamic with his wife, how he went off on the US Ryder Cup team, how even when before the cheating, he's trying to talk to a rules official, and it's one of the greatest videos ever of him being if I'm Jordan Spieth, this conversation's going differently. To me, he's one of the most incredibly fascinating players on the planet in any sport. When you add in all that other stuff, and you brought it up, he wins. And he doesn't just win. He wins FedEx Cups, WGCs. The Masters. Torrey freaking Pines, okay? And it's a lot of people's problem. You know what tilts people even harder about this guy? It is the winning. But it's what comes with the winning. The winning brings that automatic Ryder Cup spot.
He's not quite. He probably needs a few more.
He plays.
He does play. He's like American Sungjae.
The winning brings this Ryder Cup spot. The Masters win means he's not going anywhere until he dies.
For life.
Until he dies.
He's playing until he's 100.
Your favorite players that you love and cherish, well, he's going to eat dinner beside them forever. He's not going anywhere. Him and Justine are going to swag walk, crip walk onto Augusta for life. And my biggest beef of the weekend is with Jim Nantz for how he, in all the NFL discussions, I've never seen Jim Nantz go at like an NFL officiating for a 70-year-old spotting a ball 2 yards wrong or a horrible replay decision. He'll jerk off the Mike Pereira in there, but he's going after this rules official who's like, no, by the rule, Reed did nothing wrong. And then on Sunday, with no fans in attendance, where it's already like silent, the guy just remains silent in a way he's never remained silent on the PGA Tour. I was disgusted by it.
That's what you were disgusted by? I'm for that. I like Nance showing, hey, Nance is saying, I don't agree with this. I think this is shit. That. And this is the only extent of protest that I can actually do. Because I can't come on here and be like, I hate Patrick
This guy has seen so much goddamn bullshit in all the sports he covers.
There's a difference between an individual sport and a team sport, though. There really is. When you say the most fascinating person, athlete, it's easier to highlight those stories on an individual. A, because you're paying a lot of attention to it. But B, these are individuals. It's not one of 57. It's one of one.
Sure. I put him on a list with like Aaron Rodgers. He's very fascinating.
Trevor Bauer?
No.
I think Bauer's pretty fascinating.
Bauer's fascinating, but a lot of it is like to push it. Those other guys just win and they needle, and I don't think Bauer is on that level. I think Bauer tries very hard to be on that level. And you're right. Maybe my disgust. My disgust for Jim Nantz is probably not as hard as I put it there, but I didn't like how that was conducted. To your point, Jim has watched a lot of these events, and for him to act that way, he must have really felt like something, and he must be hearing or have a personal interaction from a past he doesn't like, or just know the 800 locker room stories we're completely not privy to. Because you could sense his boil. Paul?
I was thinking more like a Conor McGregor. Like McGregor punched out an old man in a bar.
that's true.
But the problem with McGregor,
that's true. He's on the list.
But the problem with McGregor is that he goes through little waves of acceptance. People love him, and then there's moments. There's been plenty of them. But punching out the old man at the bar, there's other things of him at crack houses and stuff like that. It seems like Reed just keeps the same level. He's just always hated. He never has people love him, except for you guys and some other people, I guess. But.
It's not like I love Patrick Reed. I love Patrick Reed, the golfer on the golf course, because I don't know how many other guys could have went through all this, given the smuggest post-round interview of all time, smiling and chuckling his way through it with Amanda Balionis, which I just thought was glorious. A great heel interview on that end. And then go out on Sunday and be fucking lights out.
Lights out.
Lights out.
Like I said, the most impressive thing I've seen since Bryson's U.S. Open, ironically in a major championship venue in and of itself. And he didn't beat the field by one or two where you can make it like DK guy or betting guy should be upset. Take away the strokes. Take them.
I think it would be
take him.
If he had got caught breaching a rule, though. I think it's a DQ, not necessarily a stroke penalty. I don't know that for sure, though. Because as it turns out, it turns out that no one really understands the rules of golf. They're really open to interpretation.
What's a catch? What's not a catch? What's a catch? What's not a catch? I don't know. Now, it will be funny if this is the genesis to the point where there's a rules official on every hole.
That'd be great.
Or
cameras on every hole.
Or things can be discussed that have nothing to do with the player. That there's just a committee that it's not up to the player's opinion or interpretation of it anymore. That, like I said, there is too much money for a gray area to be as big as it is in golf. And maybe it's not a gentleman's game, and that's part of the thing that maybe we're liking about it. Because what's funny...
You know who passionately was upset?
Obviously, but I want to say something first, because what's funny is this table probably started its change of opinion on Mickelson when he hits a moving ball.
Yeah. It's true.
Where did that, like, so I don't know. And then from that point, he becomes this dancing, colored shirt, button up wearing, incredible social media that, you know, where it doesn't even look like it's taken much effort like other people. Like, it seems incredibly natural to him, which is fantastic. But I don't know, like, that was a turning point, at least in my opinion of him. So I get how people can be like turned off by us associating golf with wrestling in any way. But I'm just a kid that always needed like a good and a bad. Even as a kid, I didn't like Phil because I loved Tiger.
Me too.
And because I liked football and I liked hockey and the teams I cheered for had a rival. So I loved a team and I didn't like a team. And I didn't want to cheer for this like a sport where there's no like other side of the coin. So there it is.
Tim was very upset. How dare he? And there was a lot of like fainting couches. How dare he? This is a gentleman's game. This is golf. This is golf, not a rock concert. Y'all like Happy Gilmore, but you hate Patrick Reed? Come on.
I want one closing and comment. One comment in closing. I'm sure we'll get to this again.
You can have it. Have your moment.
But I noticed, and this is to no one individual person, because this is like to 97% of y'all. Everyone on Saturday came out with their chainsaws and their pitchforks and into Sunday morning and even through Sunday afternoon. Like they wanted nothing but his head and were cheering desperately for him to lose and not win. But Sunday night, they all had to put out a tweet to not backpedal, but, oh, well, at least I admit he's entertaining for the game.
Paul?
I just want to ask one question, just as like an outsider, kind of looking in on all of this. Say if I don't know, random golfer, Harris English is too.
No,
high
if it's
up.
not Patrick Reed, this would never become a story.
Exactly. It's like if it's Zach Suker and he does it and he's like +6, but he does the exact same thing and nobody
No
actually
story, no
sees
one
it.
gives a shit.
It's not even a story. Nobody even sees the footage because they're probably not even
Well,
recording.
that I think that's the biggest concern right there is there are certain players in the field who obviously are going to be under a bigger microscope because not so much right now that galleries are following them, but the cameras are following them. And then you have other guys on the course who could be fucking kicking their ball down the fairway. You'd never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And someone asked me, and it was a fair question to me, like, what would my reaction be if, say, Spieth or Rose did it?
Well, Rose would take a picture of himself doing it, right? As long as like the MasterCard logo on the ball was up.
And
Oh, look at my drop.
And I was like, that's a very like fair question of me. But I acknowledge part of the reason I like Patrick Reed is like the brand that he lives to and the dedication of the brand. Like if it happened with Spieth or Rose, it would be an incredibly different story because it would just be out of character and wouldn't know what to make of it. And I don't know per se.
I mean, but who are the quote unquote just rumored like biggest cheaters on the tour? Reed, Kang.
Bryson gets heat for trying to like take Gray to the extent.
No,
right?
but the Bryson stuff is different because it's funny because you play on a brand. So Patrick Reed gets all this extra heat because this is what he's known to be doing. People are actively looking for him to see if he's cheating or whatever. It's not the first time this has happened. With Bryson, he gets this like genius label put on him. Like he probably understands the rules like way better than everyone else. So he's like using all of his knowledge of the rules. And well, it might result in the same outcome and the same sort of process. The spin that Bryson would get for trying to like argue with a rules official would be completely different than if Patrick Reed were to do it.
Also, probably much like Phil hitting the moving ball, I think if Spieth did something like this, we'd come in the next Monday being like, I think we're going to become Spieth guys now.
So basically, when we were talking before, back at the Valspar, before Spieth ended up winning that, and then he ended up winning the Masters, basically Reed and Spieth were coming up at the same time when we first started doing this show and becoming like elite level players. And people always kind of laughed off Patrick Reed. And they were basically the rockers. And turns out that Spieth is Marty Jannetty.
It is, isn't he? Oh my God. I love you. That is so good.
Reed just super kicked him.
Right through. Tossed him through the barber shop window.
And then went out with
Sherry.
It's Justine. Sensational Justine.
Yeah. Oh my God. That is too good.
Who won the Royal Rumble? Spoiler alert. I don't know.
Edge.
Oh, I thought Edge like broke his spine.
Yeah,
like 10
he
years
came
ago.
back last year, did a run, and he drew number 1
and won.
Who
was the last person to draw 1 and win? I guess it probably happens all the time.
happens a few times. I think Michaels
versus Bulldog.
Yeah, that was one where they kind of went out together. That was Lex.
That was Luger and Bret Hart in 1993. No, 1994 for WrestleMania 10 because they had to set up the Luger versus Yokozuna, Hart versus Hart, then Hart versus Yokozuna.
I'd actually like to watch. They did a great Yokes documentary after the show, and some of their docs are really good.
Do I have to watch that on NBC Peacock now?
I'm not sure how that is all coming through, but I forget what.
How did the pure betting feed go this week?
What do you mean?
The betting broadcast? I saw
it starts next week.
They were talking about something on. I saw Tour Junkies tweeted out that they were just like, "Here are the odds for this 3-ball. Ricky Fowler's the favorite, and he was like the massive underdog."
Yeah.
No, I don't know if that was like a one-off or what happened.
That was like
that's
one.
All I saw.
They put odds on a featured group thing, but that's not the betting thing. And guys who weren't part of the betting thing commented on those odds, calling Ricky Fowler the favorite in the group. So, what baby steps?
Yeah.
I don't
know. Just keep
whatever.
doing it, and people will like make fun of you. You'll learn from your mistakes and get better.
Yeah, and like I said, listen, that's a byproduct of like skin in the game. You can tell who has it, and you can tell who doesn't.
So off Reed for a second.
That's hard.
Who couldn't not get it up and down from everywhere this week, embedded ball or not. Just straight up, do you think Reed cheated? I think he did.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that.
You cannot touch a ball without a rules official.
No, you can't.
Off the fairway.
No,
off the fairway?
I think in this circumstance you can if it's embedded, but it was very clear from the video that there's no way that it could have been embedded.
I've seen guys debating whether a ball's embedded.
Because I think that...
So you gotta wait.
I think that what they're trying to do in those other circumstances, that they don't want this situation to happen. They call over the rules official, make sure it's right. Reed was just like, no, these are the rules. I'm doing it.
I was told it didn't bounce, therefore it must be embedded. And it's unfortunate. I mean, like, if there were fans there, we would have known. And also, it goes back to me reminding myself of Bryson at the Masters. I mean, he hits a shot in the history of golf he's never lost. His ball.
And it ruined him.
And it's unfortunate. And then there's the byproduct of fans everywhere and, Tiger getting saves for years, maybe. But good for him. I'm not crediting any of Tiger's wins to a save.
No, but it was always a very known thing where Tiger had all these huge galleries. If he shanked one left or shanked one right, it just hit someone instead of going out of bounds.
Or needed a boulder moved.
That was kind of funny, though.
It was one of the great moments in literally golf history. Good or bad. I don't know if he won that week by a stroke or two. I don't know who finished second. It was in Phoenix, wasn't it?
It was in Phoenix. So you had the Tiger like really awkward raise the roof on the hole-in-one.
That was... Yeah, so I'm sure there's a plaque there.
So we'll
must be. Or the rock is still there with a plaque on it, I would think.
Hope so. More farmer stuff very briefly. You and I were just discussing this beforehand. I was trying to figure out, because I ended up with Paul Marie, ended up coming in second, so the each way on him didn't pay out quite full. It was like 83% of the each way, which was really nice. I ended up losing money for the week, but not a ton. Lost on DraftKings, but not a ton. The ROM non-birdie on 18 cost me like $600 on DK. But... the biggest thing is that when
Sam Burns on 18?
Well, that's a different scenario.
I know.
Rahm is in the bunker on 18. Yeah. And because you're John Rahm, you take out a wood and be like, the only way I can win this event is if I eagle this hole. That is the only chance I have. Turns out it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But the only chance I have to force a playoff or potentially win is to make eagle or make this shot. So he takes out a wood from the bunker and just plunks it straight into the water. Because John Rahm doesn't care about coming in second. Henrik Norlander cares about coming in second. John Rahm doesn't. So because you were talking about Finau. Finau just had a terrible shot.
Yeah, bad shot, but he was also just going for it and being hyper aggressive.
Yeah, which he had to be.
Finau
comes second enough. He's trying to win
second enough.
once.
But to your point, coming second is the same as coming like 14th to John Rahm. It's like trophy or bust. As like silly as that might sound, the pay difference between second and eighth to John Rahm, he like probably laughs at.
I think that also happened to Rory too, especially on the back when his driver got super wonky when he was just crushing everyone with the driver all week. That he just started pressing. He's like, I need to make up like 7 shots here.
And maybe this is an apologist attitude, but players like a Rory and a John Rahm, like guys with a stacked trophy case that are sort of preeminent in the game, I cut them so much slack for bad Sundays because they're doing one thing, and by the 4th hole, like they're literally just going to win. Even if they're down 6 or 7 sometimes. They're literally just kind of trying to win. Their objectives for the day are so different than 98% of the field. And sometimes by the 5th hole, they know their objective is done, and it's just a hard place to be. They're just looking at a finish line. And I know...
And well, it can go the other way, too. It's like when you go, let's say you're down, like you go for the 2 early in football. Because you want to get the 2-point conversion.
But you know you have more time to make it up if it doesn't go your way.
And you also have that information of, we don't need the 2 next time. Or we can go for 2 for the win next time.
Oh, I like that.
Or we take the extra point. Like Rory by hole 8 is like, well, I'm down by 6. I need to make birdie on every hole. And that's what I'm going to try to do. And if you try to do that, sometimes you hit it out of bounds. And Adam Scott was probably in that same scenario too.
I like Adam Scott for the U.S. Open. This guy can take this place on. I bet Adam Scott this week. Why? How do I put this? This is actually a good outright conversation. When I bet a guy to win a golf tournament, I'm betting on his ceiling.
Yeah,
especially in this day of golf, you're not going to get it any other way. So it can go bad, and he can finish Saturday like he finished it, and it continue right into Sunday. That's a problem. But I know that if I get that ceiling... I also added Hovland to the card because he has got a bit of the yips, but I'm betting on the ceiling. And if I get the ceiling, everything is okay. Now, Adam admitted, even when he was going well in this tournament, I think after Friday, he said, I'm not like all there yet with my game. I don't feel totally comfortable. Get me Adam back on this course when he's comfortable in June. I'm excited for it. I don't have a bet on it, but if they want to push him up like they have in recent majors, I'll be there. I can't wait.
Hovland I found to be very impressive. And I should have seen it coming because I've always compared him to Rory. He strikes me as the most Rory type of game of any of these guys because he's so good off the tee, just like Rory was. And he gets real hot with his irons when he's hot. If he can make a few more putts, that would be nice. But it's not like he putted.
Yeah, he doesn't.
There was a bunch of birdie putts and when you get into Sunday, you got to start making them all.
Yeah. He missed like a 5-footer on 14 for birdie, and then he hit it into the hazard for the second straight day on 15. But is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't think he would be able to compete. Now, a lot of that was because he doesn't have a short game, and if he wasn't hitting all the greens in regulation, I thought that would be a big problem for him. He just turned out he hit a bunch of greens in regulation.
Guess what? When Hovland wins, the GRI stats aren't really going to need a count on the other part of it.
Unlike Patrick Reed, who hit no greens in regulation and just got it up and down every time and made the putts. The first par 5, was that number 5 or number 6? The back-to-back days with the giant eagle putts?
I was listening to that on radio because we were off broadcast. He passed Dustin Johnson for the most eagle putts of over 40 feet since 2012.
Good long-distance putters. So the other one, too, I was actually listening to the Reed drop, like the embed, on the I was out walking with my sons, just walking them around, and I was streaming the broadcast as I was doing it.
I picked it up.
What's that?
You heard him tell the ref, I picked it up.
Yeah, it was,
right?
and the crew on the radio broadcast couldn't figure out what was going on. It was really funny. I also didn't like how they spent so much time dedicated to that on Sunday instead of showing fucking golf. That pissed me off.
You know who did that? That came from Jim.
You think so?
That came from Jim. That came from Jim. There was a directive. It's almost like PGA Tour's Twitter account was combating Jim because they were being incredibly transparent. Here it is. Here's like an 8-minute video. Watch it. Make your own decision because you just got off TV and Jim just railroaded us. They came on Sunday. That was Jim producing that segment. tell me that's very possible.
It's-
The way the whole thing played out.
It's possible, but I mean, it could just
To
be.
not show the live golf and to like get us up to date. The leaderboard was insane at that. There were like 9 guys within 2 at that point.
Yeah, it was shaping up to be a really good Sunday. I didn't really feel good about any of my bets either.
Yeah, and the incredible part about Ray, I don't want to wax back to it, but he blows that 4-stroke lead on Saturday. And then Sunday he's not making anything, or it literally feels like 9 guys can win, and it's tight, and he just blows them all away. I don't know, where are we? Phoenix?
Farmers Insurance Open. Waste Management Open 2021. You know what we got this week, Jeff?
What?
Fans. Back on the grounds. 5,000 a day.
That's usually how many camp out at 4 a.m. to get in there.
There's far more than that camping out at 16 before that. I think 16 itself holds like 21,000 people or something crazy. Site of my bachelor party. Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't this year I went to go and book my bachelor party for Phoenix. But it's going to be nice to have roars, even if they're muted roars, not the 200,000 people on the grounds over the weekend like we normally see. But it's nice to see how this works out. I'm curious to see if all 5,000 of those people just gravitate towards 16 and how they space those people out. But that's for them to figure out, not me. I'm glad to see some fans back. Do you think, before we start this entire conversation, that the field is affected by not all the fans there?
What do you mean affected by not?
Well, this is the one tournament a year where people are yelling at golfers. Like, it's hard to walk around these grounds even when you are the golfers. There are so many people on the premises. There's cheering, there's booing, there's people flicking cigarettes at each other and fighting each other in the galleries.
Okay.
That when you get to 16 and no one's there, is it like, oh.
That'll be different. But
And are there certain, I wrote about this in my column. It's up right now on DK Nation if you can check it out. And I don't have an answer for it, it's going to adversely affect some people, and it's going to really increase the viability of some people at this course. Who? I don't know, but we're going to see it come through. It's just that's impossible to predict.
You're 100% right. I will say this is something I think guys could be getting used to, in the sense that people have probably underestimated. Like, you go to a place like Torrey Pines, Pat, and the guys that have played there forever, even just a couple times, ask any of these touring pros. They have landmarks that exist for like 5 years at a time, Pat, based on grandstands and like where things are. Like a hole without a grandstand that you've played in professional play in a tournament for 10 years, and then you come back there and there's no grandstand. That's a different hole, visually, feeling wise. So I think the fact that there's grandstands and some fans makes it that much more comfortable for guys and their landmarks. Tiger Woods spoke about this, like what I'm mentioning specifically. These guys, they've never seen these courses barren. And it affects how they view it from the tee. And it can sound, or from their approach shots. And that can sound crazy, but I'm telling you, the people that know, it makes sense. I'm not good enough to know. I could play a hole. I'd suck on any hole. I'm not comparing to us or normal people. But the visual cues all these guys get, a lot of them historically from the courses they go back to year in, year out, are from the grandstands. So I think they'll be relieved to see them again.
Interesting. Okay. You might know it as TPC Scottsdale. It is 7,261 yards, par 71. All 3 par 5s reachable. Par number 17, par 4. It would be a risk-reward par 4, but if you don't go for it, you're a moron, considering if you hit it in the water, you still make par 40% of the time. So you might want to do that. Bermuda greens, ball striking, 450 to 500 yard par 4s, par 5s gained, opportunities gained is what you should be looking at this week in terms of stats. I say we just jump into it because this field, it's funny, almost every elite golfer in the world is playing this week. It's just split up between here and Saudi Arabia. You got Bryson, and Dustin, and Tony Finau, and Abraham Answer, Tyrrell Hatton, Tommy Fleetwood, Paul Casey. He's on your, well, you have Patrick Reed on your season-long team that we all drafted at the beginning of the year. You also have Paul Casey, but you don't get any money for his win.
No, but it's a good sign. I think
I should have bet it considering he was first tee to green at American Express. I didn't even think about it to go bet him. It was good odds.
I didn't bet anyone over there. So.
But
he outdid. I don't know. When I woke up on Sunday, he won by 4.
Yeah, it was Bobby Mack who was he was one shot back of him going into it. But anyway, the Euro Tour show comes out on Mayo Media Network on Monday evening with Sky and Tom. You can catch that on the new podcast feed, Daily Fantasy Sports, picks, and bets. Links are in the description. Go sub and get into that giveaway for that show if you want to win $100. But here, I actually started to do the trying to guess what the odds were going to be for the tournament on my Sunday show before like the other tournament ends. I didn't think people would be this steep. Just with all the good players that are in the field this week, I thought the middle range would be a bit more congested, like 20 to 40 to 1, and like that's barren. They kind of went either you're a favorite or you're not a favorite this week. Seems to be how the odds play out. So Rom is 6.5 to 1. Thomas is like 7.5, 8 to 1. Xander is 8.5 to 1. Rory is 11.5 to 1. Webb is 15. Berger is 17. Then you get Matsuyama, English. Those are the only two other players in the 20s. They're 23 and 28 to 1. This makes me not want to bet this tournament because I have no real way to distinguish between any of these guys. If I had to bet one, I'd bet Rory. He's the longest of the odds. He played fine last week. Was shitty on Sunday, couldn't make a putt the other days. Whatever. It's the first time he's ever played this event. I think this sets up really well for Rory. But I don't know if I want to go all in on Rory here, or like I was talking to you, my move here might be to take some guys from 40 plus, play some top 10s, and just that's how I'm going to play it out this week. Because I don't really know what to do at the top of the board. Like, if you told me to pick between them, which I'm telling you, it would be Rory of the top 4 guys, the top 6 guys, of the top 8 guys at 11.5 to 1, but I mean, I think Xander, JT, and Rom are just as likely to win, don't you?
Yes, but I do like the Rory call. And didn't he joke that he needs fans to care?
He does.
So it's fun that they're back. Of all the guys, he would probably be my pick. I'd pick him ahead of Xander. That's about as much as I know. Going back a little farther, though, Pat, Berger and Matsuyama, I don't want to totally... Right.
Their odds suck here. Like Matsuyama is the only one just because he's dominated this course in the past.
If I bet Matsuyama last week at like 28 instead of Patrick Reed, do I feel obligated that I gotta just do that again?
Maybe.
I don't like it. There are some guys in and around that 50 that I'm gonna try to maybe recreate some past welcome to the show magic here that I do think this course can suit. I've had a great track record here. Lost last year in a playoff again. I stack wins or playoff losses at this place right before the Super Bowl. And
you didn't lose it all back on.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, people, our Super Bowl, I have 3 designated Super Bowl shows that are coming out this week. Me, you, and Tim. That'll be out tomorrow on Tuesday. I have a gigantic props and betting special at the end of the week with the guys from FTN, Jeff Radcliffe and Brad Evans, and my Super Showdown dudes, Justin Freeman and David Jones will be joining me on, I think, Thursday evening to do the DraftKings Showdown show. Tons of money up for grabs in Showdown this week, so highly recommend you go check out those shows, plus the full complement of golf stuff. I'm with you. This is where Brooks broke through. Like, here are the past winners. And I think 4 of the past 5 years has gone to a playoff.
Yeah, before the Super Bowl.
At least they always get itself. They get themselves wrapped up quick enough.
When your heaviest action is on your anthem tips.
That's true. Webb won last year at minus
which
17.
I can't get this year because there's restrictions on COVID and rehearsals and the building's on lockdown.
Well, you can still bet it. You just don't have your inside info for it.
Well, then I'm not betting it.
Webb minus 17 in a playoff. Ricky won by a huge 2-stroke.
After he was up 6 and took the drop and had the Brendan Grace scare.
Yeah.
Grace put it in the water.
Yes, he did. And I think he still made par on it. No, he made bogey. Ricky won at minus 17. Woodland chased down Reevy and won at minus 18. Then back-to-back Matsuyama. He won at minus 17 and minus 14. Brooks before that at minus 15. I think my single favorite final round
Both of those were playoffs, Matsuyamas. I think one was Webb and one was Ricky.
He beat Webb in one of them. That was the year that I went. Was the year that he beat Webb in the playoffs.
Or maybe it just came down to...
I had money on Louis and Ben Ann.
Didn't Tim curse someone?
He cursed fucking Ben Ann. I had money on Ben Ann. It was my bachelor party. He was winning going into the final round. Tim like gave him a high five, and he fucking made like 5 bogeys in a row.
Didn't he get near Phil or something that week?
Yeah, Phil giving I tweeted out that video. You can find that on my timeline.
Love it.
But my single favorite final round in history happened at this event in 2012. That or the Garrigus meltdown at St. Jude that one year, which is pretty funny. Kyle Stanley beating Spencer Levine on the back nine when Levine went into full meltdown mode. Smoked an entire pack of cigs on the back nine, got a cactus stuck in his ass, and Stanley just made a charge after gagging the 3-stroke lead on 18 to Brandt Snedeker at Torrey the week before by going double dunk in the water. Stanley rebounds and wins in 2012. That was like the first big Kyle Stanley moment he had. It's probably the biggest Kyle Stanley moment he ever had. But the Levine, like, you know how they go out of their way to not show people smoking in any sort of capacity on TV? Even The Challenge, a show I love. Enough people in the house are smoking this year they can't get away from it because people are just holding cigs in their hand while they're like fighting with other people. And usually they try to not show smoking on TV. They couldn't get away from showing Spencer Levine just like cig off of cig in just complete meltdown mode. It is like the funniest compilation you can go watch. I feel bad for the guy because it was probably his biggest moment too. And he kind of melted down during it. But I just remember that. And remember Phil shot 60 the next year in the opening round, almost shot 59, lipped out the putt. This tournament's awesome. I love this tournament.
It's great. It makes people, because I say, watch the Super Bowl with like other humans. And I'm like freaking out about the end of the golf this every year because the end of this tournament is always crazy. So then, like, people's wives know I'm nuts, but then they see me like watch the end of the Phoenix Open. Like, what's wrong with him?
I will throw a word of caution out there that Camilo Villegas, Charlie Hoffman, and Matthew Wolff all withdrew last week because of injuries, and they're all in the field right now. So I don't know really what to make of that. But that's just a tidbit of information if that's affecting you either way. So we're good with this top range, right? Like Rory or no one? Probably no one.
Yeah, Rory
Hideki or no one.
You got no space for Xander, though? Like the way he finished this week?
Listen, Xander's great. He's come top 5 in 5 of his past 7 tournaments. He's basically become Rory. But like, why does he have better? Like, why does he have the same odds as basically Justin Thomas? Like, come on. Is there a better friend to the sportsbook than Xander Schauffele and Tony Finau? Honestly?
No.
Like, what's his top 5? His top 5's 2-1? That's a much better bet.
No, I don't like.
I'm not saying he can't win. I'm going to be loading up on Xander and DraftKings. He's like the safest guy you can have. And when it comes to winning time, like, yeah, he's won 4 times. He's won 1 cut event ever. And it was the Greenbrier 5 years ago.
I'd rather bet Rory. But, I don't know, the guy steamed on the weekend.
Sure, but like Rahm's never finished worse than 14th at this tournament. And that even includes when he played as an amateur.
Probably able to say that about everywhere Rahm plays.
True, and he's like you have to give up, what, a 1.5 to bet Rahm? Rather bet Rahm, wouldn't you? Rather bet Justin Thomas. He wins all the time. And like there's very little value.
Justin Thomas is probably going to win this thing, isn't he?
Probably coming back. Well, he missed the cut overseas, right?
Yeah.
So he got an early flight back. Yeah. And Casey just went from the Amex overseas and won, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, Webb is super live. I think all these guys are super live. It's just I can't really distinguish between them. So it would be Rory or Hideki for me. Would be my goes, but that's, like I said, I don't know if that's how I really want to play it this week.
I said Hideki. You didn't even seem to like Hideki.
He's fine at 22. It's a fine bet. It's not like he played great at Torrey Pines, but he did lead the Sony tee to green. He's won here twice. Remember everyone bet him that year and then he withdrew after a round? It's in my article. I can't remember the actual like official stat, but I think it's 27 of his career 28 rounds at this course have been under par, which is just kind of crazy. I'm more interested in this like next range up to 100 though. So Sung Jae is 34. All these odds from DraftKings Sportsbook, by the way. Billy Horschel is 45. Like, Hideki 23, English 28, Sung Jae 34. Now we're at 45 to 1. That's how they're pricing people this week. So you have in this like 45 to 60 range, Horschel, Louis, Palmer, Scheffler, Zalatoris, Fowler, Brooks, Bubba, Matthew Wolf, Si Woo Kim, who has the most strokes lost of any player in the field by a substantial margin over the past 5 years at this event. Russell Henley, Gary Woodland, Sam Burns, now we're up to 85-1. I might just take 4 of these guys, bet them, and hope they can get into like a runoff situation or just kind of go with it.
I could name you a bunch of these guys that I like. Sung Jae could be on the list because I feel like you got to consider him every time now.
And this is a
I
good...
don't know what I saw him at 9 under.
And then
We just got caught.
rode the bogey train.
I mean, listen, if one of my bets wasn't going to win, I wanted Reed to win. So I didn't like seeing Sung Jae make the charge because he scares the crap out of me. But I could easily bet him. I could easily bet Scotty Scheffler. I could easily bet Will Zalatoris.
You're not worried about Scheffler? It's been 2 pretty disastrous tournaments in a row for him.
Whatever.
Okay.
Now this number feels right and better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Buy the dip.
Win this one. I feel like the Brooks win. If like Willie Z wins this one.
That's exactly where I was thinking.
But when I said to you before, like I might try to make my own narrative here and tell me if I'm like going too far.
How about a guy who's 55-1 this week?
Wolf, Woodland, who? I like them all.
Brooks Koepka. How about it? He's fucking 55-1.
Okay. I will say if
I think that's a blind bet for a player of that caliber.
So then you say yes based on what I said before. It's an outright bet. Miss the cut. I bet a lot of losers miss the cut.
I bet Jason Day last week.
You bet on the ceiling.
Jason Day's 90-1.
You bet on the ceiling. I might rather bet Day than Brooks, though.
Brooks had one bad round last week. He kind of plodded through the conditions, and like the conditions were horrible. 90-1, Jason Day. Same odds as Max Homa.
How about it's Corey Connors?
He was good.
Let's bet Corey Connors.
I'm going to bet Corey Connors. The number at DraftKings Sportsbook, 85-1, is way better than any number I've seen on Corey Connors anywhere else. Now, please don't go on your phone the entire time.
I'm not. I'm just... A book has stolen money from me, and they're tilting me.
Ricky Fowler. Tee to green. Very good performance last week from Sir Ricky. Couldn't make a putt to save his life. It's been encouraging to me to see him. He rallied to make the cut at the Amex. Didn't have a great weekend. Didn't have a great weekend at Torrey, but played much better at Torrey than he normally does. And the tee to green stuff really kind of jumped out to me like, oh, he drove the ball really well. The irons were really good. He lost 4 strokes putting. Ricky doesn't normally lose 4 strokes putting over 3 weighted rounds anywhere. He can putt the lights out here. He's very comfortable here. I know it's not usually me who pumps up Ricky, but I actually expected his number to be like 40-1 this week instead of 55.
In.
All right, sold. Ricky Fowler.
I don't need
Ricky
much
Fowler,
selling.
Brooks Koepka. Let's just play some hits this week.
Honestly? We'll put the new kid in the band, Willie Z.
I kind of want to bet Ryan Palmer, too. I've been betting him. He's been playing really well.
I bet my own losers that don't win. That's the problem. I can't add other people's guys that don't win.
I'm adding your guy.
What about Louis?
I'd rather bet Bubba here.
Oh, that makes sense.
This is
Louis cursed.
Louis Tim's one and done after he tried to pick Finau, who wasn't playing.
Who's now going to win in Europe.
I was looking
based on Tim trying to pick him
for
here,
Phoenix, yeah.
And then Tim will sideways ask for credit.
Yeah, I said he was going to win. Do I get credit for his European Tour winnings? It seems like a really good course for Tony, too.
Oh, guys just go there and take that place down, don't they? Like, doesn't Bryson and JT are going to go to like 20 under?
So I think in the 3 years of the event, and this is off the top of my head, I think we went Dustin, McDowell, Bryson. I forget who won last year. I think Westwood may have won last year. I don't remember.
How did
Graham McDowell? Coastal course. You get Graham at a coastal course, he'll spike once every 3 years. Yeah, but I think this is the range I want to live in too. The problem is, look at these names at the top. Like one of those guys is probably going to win. That's the fear. But if I'm going to bet one of these guys from down here, maybe Ryan Palmer's a bad example. That's why I don't mind Brooks. Because if Brooks shows up, he's just as good as all these guys, or better. I don't know what the ceiling is for Zalatoris, like you said, and he could be one of those guys. The problem with Ryan Palmer...
It's an ask.
It's an ask.
I'd rather bet on Zalatoris to win than Palmer.
I think
I actually have more confidence.
I think I might be with you on that. It's just Palmer's playing... Maybe I'll just bet Palmer top 5 and be on my way, or top 10 and just try to get some money out of it that way. But I'm really digging where he's at right now. I'm feeling good about my Torrey... Listen, he's probably not going to win the U.S. Open, but 250-1's a pretty good number on him.
I'm not going to argue that. It'd be unfair of me to throw any stones.
What about Woodland?
This is what I wanted to say. When Woodland won here, I bet him at Torrey Pines like I did last week. And I was bothered by his Torrey Pines performance that I said, screw this guy this week, and he won. So I was going to say that to be like, don't overrate a bad Torrey Pines to don't think this guy just can't show up again and win. Because things can go wrong for you at Torrey Pines that won't go wrong here. You only find trouble here unless you put it in like one of the two lakes or you are under a jumping choy or cactus.
Or you just shank the ball into the desert.
But you can get incredibly lucky shanking it into the desert.
Sure.
You can also find yourself right under a cactus and have to take a drop. Well, the same shot takes a different bounce and you have a full swing to an open green.
I'm shocked Cam Davis isn't playing this week. He led the field tee to green on the
I
golf course.
want a health report on Woodland. I only say that, Pat, because, and I love Gary. We're in on Gary. We hope for Sealing Gary to come around. But when the great news a week ago is you finally played 4 rounds pain-free, I now want to know you played 2 straight 4 rounds pain-free. So I'm curious to know if that's out there.
Well, he's playing a 3rd week in a row. He was bad off the tee at the South Course after being really good off the tee. Again, this kind of harkens back to you know where Gary plays better? Shorter courses.
Yeah, this goes right back to Gary doesn't have to feel that off the tee pressure, puts it in his range.
Hit some fairways, be on your way. And it's funny because bombers have, you look at it, like Woodland, Matsuyama, who at the time was one of the higher guys in driving distance, Koepka, even Stadler, Phil. You can get a mix of different winners here. Like it does lean towards a bomber because there's so many drives over 300 yards. But don't discount that guy who gains off the tee and is just really good with his irons. The Stanleys, the Webbs, even Fowler to that degree. Although Fowler was like 100% putting that week. Yeah, I think he gained like 6 more strokes than anyone else did putting. But I think almost any sort of player can win if their irons, like if you're going to take a short hitter. I'm so upset Molinari's not in the field. He was 3rd tee to green last week.
How about that? How coming around?
I'm going to start looking.
See you in Florida, pal.
I'm going to start looking
or
at
what,
some.
Riv?
I'm just going to start looking at Molinari like majors futures because he's starting. This is exactly what he was doing before the lead up
to Bay Hill and then beyond. Well, he won the European PGA before Bay Hill, right?
No, he won Bay Hill last. 2 years ago. So he won like
Bay Hill last year was
he won like Rocket Mortgage or something like that, whatever the hell that tournament was, and then he won.
But he won the European.
He won Wentworth.
Yeah,
and then he won the British Open.
Yeah,
and like when you watched him in his lead up to those events, it was he's doing everything right across the board. Yesterday, like he just played Torrey Pines and he's not a big hitter. He gained 2.1 strokes off the tee. He gained 4.1 on approach, 2.7 around the greens. That's what you always wanted from Molinari. And can he make enough putts? Sometimes he gets super hot with the putter. He like broke even putting. He came in 10th. Like, I don't know. He had a super hot Sunday. Sometimes you just need super low rounds, but it feels like he's still being discredited by the market in some of these futures. So I'm going to have a deeper dive into those to see if there's a spot that I like him. Maybe Kiowa Island is a spot for him. We talked about
feisty
like the
European.
feisty Euros who just pop up at the top of that leaderboard. Why not him?
I don't know.
Pete Dye specialist too.
Who else was popping for Kiowa?
Bobby Mack. I already got my bet in.
Really?
I gave that out on the major show. I liked him at Kiowa. Don't like him gagging on Sundays though. But yeah, the Zalatoris Scheffler types.
Burns?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not Burns?
You're getting a pretty good price off a pretty strong performance. So the guy got punched in the mouth on Sunday at Torrey Pines.
By Reed. Playing with Reed. It seemed to affect Ortiz and Burns more.
This number is kind of reflecting the fact that he gas canned my T20.
And he didn't even finish inside the top 20.
Pat, he put it in the water for his 3rd on 18.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He put it in the water, and he bogeyed 18 on Saturday.
Just like Will Gordon and Brandon Hagee for me. Although,
but I don't mind him this week.
Gordon made it up to me with 2 eagles on the back 9 coming down the stretch. You know who had an amazing Sunday? Luke List.
Cashed it. Top 20. I think he did top 10.
Top 10. He came 10th.
I had the balls. I had like a plus 550 top 20. My prop sheet over where I give those did real good. Almost had the Hovland, had some great props, and then it all went to shit when Burns. Like, I could have salvaged the week. Now I'm looking to put money in an account because I don't have any. That's how it tells you how the weekend went at Torrey. But Reed won.
He was my one and done in the race for the Mayo Cup.
That's great.
There's some guy who has first, second as his first 3 picks. He's winning, by the way.
I am. It's 3,000 people, right?
Yeah, 3,300.
I guarantee you, I've made 3 picks. I am north of 2,750.
Okay. I'm in the money in one and not in the money in the other. So let's see here. Having a winner helps, though, on that card. We haven't got to the 100 to 1 yet. Homa played really well again. Like, that's the thing. Like, I can see one of those guys potentially winning here. It just really scares me with the amount of, like, elite names at the top of this field. But if I'm going to try to whittle it down of guys that I like, I haven't actually made any bets so far, which is a rarity for me in terms of this show coming into Monday. Palmer, Zalatoris, Brooks, Fowler, Bubba. Do I need to get a health report on Wolf before I just pull the trigger at like 60 to 1?
No.
Because if he withdraws
You
before the
called
tournament,
it a week ago.
I get the money back if he doesn't play. Now, if he tees off, I don't get the money back.
So maybe give it a day, but you called it a week ago, Pat, and this is what else I would say on that. Because I brought this up with I had Eric Patterson on my show on Friday.
You never go full Andercust, EP. You never do it.
Now, I felt bad for Eric because
So do I.
he also had like Scott up there and people were just, and this is when Scott was like tied for the lead on Friday night and he's getting railroaded for a guy being last. Like, who cares if Wolf finished 40th?
If he came second, the bet doesn't win.
Yeah,
He
but
needs to come first.
I just joked with him. It's like, you make that, you put yourself out on a limb like that and you're like, what's the worst that can happen? A guy's not going to win the golf tournament. People aren't going to blame me, which is a fair take. And then the guy totally gas cans. But he made a great point because I'm like, well, Mayo says he's winning Phoenix. Are we worried? Like, is there something going on? And he's like, he probably just withdrew because apparently it was a blister.
Oh.
But like, I don't know, he's 7 over. He's like, I'm getting out of here. Bye. Right? It's supposed to be a horrible weather day.
Yeah. I think that's why Hoffman pulled out, too.
Yeah. Well, Hoffman had a bit of a link.
He had the back, but he's probably like, bad conditions. I'm already out of it. See ya.
Wolf's a young guy. I think the 60 in Phoenix, I want to crush this range, but you're right. You're just giving away money because you may as well pick one of those top 4.
That's what I'm saying. Do you just play the top 10, top 5, top 10 market with all of these guys? Now, you miss out on the big cash, but you know, sometimes it's about winning money, not just arbitrarily losing money every single
I
week.
could make one stab at get a good Rory number.
I bet you I know a place where we can find a 14 on Rory.
And then go for a couple of those north of 50s.
I might just go all north of 50. Because like I like Connor.
I don't even know how to pick.
I like Connors. I like Day. There's a lot of guys I like this week, and I don't know how to properly.
Okay.
Now I'll whittle it down by obviously as the week goes along.
So,
but okay, go ahead.
Crossing 30, is him like going to make your short list? Or you're just going to move 20 points higher.
I'll just move 20 points higher.
Okay, so let's move higher. Let's move higher.
It's like Hideki and him. I think they could both most definitely win.
Okay, fine. So if we've got to like cut down a list that we can cut down from, I want to put Scheffler, Zalatoris, Fowler, Brooks. So many names. Bubba, Watson, Wolf, Hovland.
Hovland's not here.
Sorry, Woodland. Connors, Day. How many names is that?
And you want that's like 9. That's like
so
10
now we
names.
got it. So who's the first one you even want to cut?
Scheffler. Scheffler's up.
Okay. So who else? Like, I'm just process of elimination. Now let's cut someone else. Burns.
Burns. Yeah, let's cross off Burns. I'm going to cross off Woodland.
Are we gonna trust Bubba?
I will. And the thing is, I need to find these numbers on these guys because that will really dictate it. Because when I looked at where I have access to bet, Bubba was 40. And Zalatoris was 40. Palmer was 50. Like, Palmer had a better number than 45 is here, but these other guys had worse numbers. Ricky was like 40. I'm more interested in these guys at 55 and 60 than I am at 40. Then I think that changes the strategy depending on what number you can get. Because I'm having a hard time parsing through all of these guys this week. But that's me.
Have we crossed 100?
Not yet.
Okay, then in front of it, like, I don't know. I bet you were going to see Love for Homa this week.
You should, but like,
Because hasn't he have a nice little track record here?
that I don't know. He was really good with his irons. He's been good the last 2 weeks.
So maybe that's what I was just seeing, the trending iron play for this guy.
Just the very good results. He was 6th here last year. He was 26th the year
So
before.
it's two nice results with
Yeah.
irons trending on a shorter course. Got to add another name to this debate list.
Yeah, I think that entire range of even Ben Ann, who's played well here in the past, Corey Connors, Jason Day, Max Homa, like they're all pressing almost up to 100. That you can make an interesting curve. That's why I say like the top 10, top 5 type bets, and maybe you hope to cash like 3 of them, and you walk away a pretty good winner this week. Even if Rory wins or Rahm wins. You want to jump to over 100?
No, I'm thinking I'm the greatest hits Fowler Koepka album. I don't know how I'm going to avoid that. I'm telling you guys right now.
There's no Finau to bet.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're
With,
betting
like,
Finau at 14. You're betting Brooks at fucking 50 or 60 to 1.
With Willie Z at 50. I don't know. That's where, yeah. Okay.
Jason Day at like 125 by the time Thursday comes around.
Over 100. There's names I could reel off here.
All right, so let's go. I mean, this will be more of the top 20 market for me. I'm just looking back at last week for Torrey Pines. Here are some interesting tee to green leaders from last
You're
week.
going to name Sabatini?
No, Sabatini was all putting. I'm going to take a hard pass on on the good Rory. For guys in the field, Norlander really crushed it last week. Norlander was great. List was great. Sam Ryder was really, really good tee to green. Matthew Neesmith led everyone in approach on the South Course. So maybe he's recaptured what he had lost. He lost 5 strokes putting. Kyle Stanley couldn't make a putt, but he played really well. 2, who else? Fowler was up there, tee to green. Gained 3 strokes off the tee, almost 2 strokes on approach. Like I said, lost almost 4 putting. Fowler.
Let's go.
Get back to your happy place. He basically had the same numbers as Max Homa did, just he couldn't putt. Like Will Z is up there, but like the list, Neesmith, Kokrak, and Norlander all kind of stick out to me. I think the only one that I might bet, like outright bet for my peer, I am starting to be convinced, like hard courses are where you want Luke List. This isn't a super hard course. Maybe this isn't a great spot for him, but continue to dial him up with these harder courses. Like he was horrendous on the greens on Saturday. Like it was embarrassing to be following his shot tracker and like me tilting my mind off Friday and Saturday, but he started making some putts.
He almost missed the cut.
Yeah, he almost gagged away. Him and Seb Straka almost missed the cut. Straka had a nice Sunday as well. Munoz, 175 to 1, just because we haven't seen him in 2 weeks. That's a good number he is much better than all of the other players in this range. Like he's a legit guy.
Yeah. You're 100% right in the sense that to me, and I said it a couple times as last year wound down, Pat, that of like the not top 50 players in the world, Munoz made the biggest gains, like in my opinion, at least here. In the way that Hatton made like insane gains of players sort of in that top tier in the world, Munoz to me made the biggest gains of players not in that tier that we like to speak of or bet on often. Well, at least for me.
You want a guy to make the cut, you bet the man of many question marks, the Riddler, John. But outside of that, he's probably not going to win.
What about Cam Champ? You've wanted to bet him recently.
Yeah.
Amax, a short little plot around.
Yeah, it didn't really work out so well. So here's the thing with Cam Champ. So he was a disaster last week. Disaster 2 weeks in a row now. Played the South Course. Here are his numbers from the South Course in his one round. Gained 2 strokes off the tee. Gained 1.5 strokes through approach. Lost 3 strokes around the green. Lost 5 strokes putting in one round. The ball striking was there for Cam Champ. So I don't really know what to do with him. I feel like, I don't want to say that he's a blind bet kind of guy, but doesn't he win enough to be a blind bet kind of guy? That, if he doesn't win and he comes in like dead last, then, it sucks. But he hasn't gained strokes putting in an awful long time, which is kind of worrisome for me.
So why?
But he was 67th here last year.
Carlos Ortiz, still a big number.
Yeah, Ortiz and Munoz are the two that I don't quite understand.
Why would
King Carlos? I like King Carlos.
that's like not, I mean, just off of
It was a big. I feel like that was a big moment. Like he got his win.
that's
during
a
this
big Sunday at Torrey. Now
I-
you're going to give me 100 to 1 at a course that I think works for you. Listen, if you're playing well, Phoenix works for anyone playing good golf.
I would tend to agree. Yes.
Like, I don't want to sort of course type this.
Ortiz has made the cut 3 of 4 appearances here, 25th last year.
It's a good for a bomb. The way he's playing, if you could get the placings, I guess, because we're all afraid of the top.
That's what I'm saying, like a top 20, top 10 on some of these guys.
There was one more guy I really wanted to bring up, and it's not Jordan Spieth, because I'm sure we can mention that.
He's 120. He's 150 to 1.
On this book, yeah. Who did I just have?
Wyndham Clark was the first round leader here last year. Chris Kirk continues to play good golf.
A couple guys that played well.
But why is Munoz 175 and Charlie Hoffman is 125 and Gooch is 125? I don't quite understand that.
Because after like the first 50 names, people decide it doesn't really matter.
You know what? Maybe we should be doing that too.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. I assume Knox didn't play Torrey Pines.
No, we did.
He was getting back to form at Amex.
Yeah.
And I don't know, him and Chris Kirk. But I don't want to bet these guys to win. And I've run to bet Kuchar at half that number before here.
Knox missed the cut last week, by the way.
But at Torrey Pines.
Yeah. I'm not sweating it too much, but just he did play last week. All right.
Hadwin? Now I'm naming names.
Yeah, we're running short on time here. We're already over an hour into this.
No, because we did the Reed debate.
Yeah, which was far more fun than being like Ches Reavie, Bo Hogg, Joel Damon, local guys. Well, Ches Reavie and not Bo Hogg, but Joel Damon is. He lives in the area. Remember he played the Outlaw Tour event when he was in Arizona? Quick picks for the Waste Management Open. For the first time in the history of this show, I have none. As of right now. I will release my cheat sheet later in the week as I start wrapping my mind around this a little bit. But we narrowed down the names, and I think that's the strategy that I'm going to play is take the guys from like 45, 50, and above, play like a group of like 5 of them. Hopefully 2 of them can get into the mix. Play them with the each way, so if they come inside the top 5, I'm looking good to maybe take some longer shots on top 10s or top 20s. But my short list of those guys is narrowed down to Palmer, Zalatoris, Fowler, Brooks, Bubba, Wolf, Connors, and Day. And then like deeper, Ortiz, Straka, and Munoz potentially as top 20s. Looking at it, but I actually have no real cash laid down on any of these guys. And I do reserve the right to pull shoot on all this idea and just bet Rory.
Yeah, I could just piggyback what you said. Even if I bet Rory, I feel like I could make room for Rory, Brooks, Ricky, and think, damn, baby. What a card.
My strongest lead.
What a card.
Just for fun is like, honestly, like if I just could only bet 3 guys this week.
And Will Z.
I
got to bet Will Z. I got to bet Will Z this week. But he's going to be so popular. He's going to be on every betting card, I think.
Okay. Fowler 55, Brooks 55, Bubba 55. I feel like I can just vibe with that. Bubba has like 6 top 10s here in 14 starts. He is minus 49 in opening rounds here. So if you're playing DraftKings Showdown, use Bubba Watson. Round 1.
I think I'm going to just stack north of 50 and miss the Rory win.
We'll miss the...
Because I like
not only that,
$200 on Rory.
Not only
I'd rather
that,
just bet 5 guys for $200
for the same price. Yeah. But just looking at it right now, we listed all these guys in the like plus 50 to 100 range. The one guy we didn't mention, Russell Henley, we'll just watch him win. We'll have all the guys in the area and not pick the right
Henley
guy.
and Billy Horschel, we didn't give a moment to.
There's another guy too who I think I'm going to end up using. Oh, by the way, if you subscribe to that new audio podcast feed where there's the Euro Tour and the UFC and all that stuff, I'm doing a short 10-minute one and done video and podcast every single week. So I'll talk more about the one and done on Wednesdays on that. But the one and dones for this show, Cust is taking Louis Oosthuizen after he tried to take Tony Finau. I'm doing well in that contest, by the way. Me and Tim both got a second place finish last week with Finau and Xander. I'm, for the purposes of this show, going to take Xander as my one and done. Keep it easy. Just using all the top guys. Keep rolling through everything. Who are you going to take as your one and done?
Should have saved Hideki for this week. I'll take Webb.
Webb.
Because I feel like despite his prowess here, he's still going to be underappreciated.
I agree. There is one guy in the one and done, if you want to get risky, that you could burn this week and not even feel that badly about it either.
John Rahm?
Harris English. who no one is going to bet or use this week after he just destroyed everyone's hopes and dreams last week.
He's allowed.
He's been on a good run.
I also forgot to mention I was wearing my Great Tour Junkies t-shirt with Patrick Reed on it, I guess. I don't know if my gut got over that part of the desk today, but there. Shout out to them.
Harris English used to be good at this course. When he used to be good. Then he was bad at the course when he was bad, but now he's good again.
Do you know Patrick Reed's victory of the 25-1 was his shortest priced win since that Wyndham victory?
What was he at Wyndham?
22.
He was 22 at TOC too. So remember we bet.
Oh, sorry, TOC.
We bet him that.
I didn't mean Wyndham. I meant TOC. That was a stat. I even regurgitated it wrong. 22 at TOC. This was his shortest win since that. So he's won at big places at nice numbers.
It's really funny because we've been saying this for the past 3 years and maybe even beyond that. And I don't do it because I'm an idiot. It's just like when someone tweeted at us I remember you guys always say, play Patrick Reed at long, really hard courses. I did say that. And then I didn't do it. That we should just bet Patrick Reed every week. Blindly bet.
We used to have him on the auto bet because he's a year winner, but he used to be 50-80. That was when he was
but even at 25-1, he wins more than that.
And he shows up at the big courses.
And he's such an asshole that everyone doesn't like that he doesn't go up to 10-1 ever.
And the best part about it that we say every time we talk ourselves into betting Patrick Reed is if he is there on Sunday one-on-one versus a Dustin or a Rahm.
He's live.
He doesn't wilt for a moment in the same way not even in a joke, how when coming off the Finau stuff of Amex, it's okay, the fact Finau hasn't won one time, we can call that bad luck. The fact he doesn't have 4 or 5 wins, it's because he's not Patrick Reed.
I think Reed is now 7 of 12 with 54 hole leads. It's got to be it's either 6 of 12 or 7 of 12.
Catch a taste. Once he catches a taste.
But that's got to be, leave Tiger aside. If anyone else whose name isn't Tiger Woods, in the past 20 years, that has to be the best rate.
Probably. Did you see, I saw watching a little Sky Sports, Hatton is winning at a 20% clip these days?
Love that. They
compared it to Prime Tiger, which was a 22.2 or something. Or a stretch of Tiger.
Well, do you think it's funny that Hatton has really exploded ever since Tim discovered who he was and decided that he hated Tyrrell Hatton?
Yes. It's true. It's true.
So watch out for it. Remember to do the ratings and reviews for all those pods.
You're going to railroad me.
Why?
With that SOI. I put out such good stuff for over an hour. That's what you're going to give them. I know it.
You know me too well. It's a snappy clip, Jeff.
It's... whatever.
That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Please rate, review, and subscribe. And please subscribe to Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets, European Tour Breakdown. My one and done is going to be on there, plus all of the other. They're going to be short shows, so if you're just looking for info on stuff, on slates that maybe you don't understand, but want to get some action in on, get some skin in the game, then that is a podcast feed that you need to be subscribed to. You leave a 5-star rating and a review with your Twitter handle or email, you are in a draw for $100. Now, that's $100 American dollars, and there might be more than one draw for those. So please, go help us out. We're launching our 5th show on Mayo Media Network. We can't do this without the help of you guys, and so far, so good on that front. So thank you for all the support. For Geoff Fienberg, Paul Shaughnessy, we'll be back later in the week with a full stack of golf shows and football shows. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!